You know what's probably my favorite part of the current Link Joker season in Zero, like probably by far the most best thing, is the fact that it feels as if Global and JP aren't that far apart. Even though we're like, what, 3 sets apart, in terms of releases, it somehow feels like we're still playing the same game, obviously. But even though we're up ahead in releases, we can still relate to the Global players really easily, and maybe you guys can also relate to the JP players too, because it's all under the same mechanic. You guys maybe aren't complaining about stuff that we are, but I don't know, it just feels relatable. It feels better than I don't know, last summer when we were playing with Maelstroms and Azels, and then Global was playing with Perfect Riser and Tsukiyomi, and it just didn't feel as I don't know, we were a group, it was as coherent. And I'm kind of feeling a bit sad when JP gets to Legion and then suddenly we're again apart in terms of mechanics. So I like this. I look forward to G, especially when there's not going to be many new mechanics introduced, and it's going to be the same thing for the most part, and just changing metas, I guess. Anyway, welcome folks, set 13 time. Let's take a look at everything. There's 6 clans of support in this one. Nouvelle, of course, is a big one. Grade 4s, crazy. Of course, they are main deck grade 4s. These are not strides, and yes, they did exist before G. Do not let yourself be fooled. Let's take a look at everything. There are barely any cards for Royals though, so let's just start out with that. No new starter here. I think no new grade 1s either. No new... Oh, was there a new grade 2? I don't think there was. Nope, no new grade 2. The only new card for Royals is the one and only Exculpate the Blaster. So this is the grade 4 Exculpate. So is this card good? No, it's actually not that great. Does this make MLB better? No, MLB was good already, and this adds basically nothing to it. Unfortunate. But what does it do? Well, Vanguard Circle. If you do not have Blaster Blade in your soul, this unit just cannot attack. It just T-poses there, just like this, on the Vanguard Circle and does nothing. Then second skill, if you do have a Blaster Blade in your soul, you can Counterblast 3 for him to gain the following 2 abilities for that turn. First one is, when this unit attacks, he battles all of your opponent's units in one battle. So basically a buffed Vermilion, aka Brawlers in Legion, which basically battles everything on the opponent's field. And then second skill, at the end of the battle that this unit attacked, if you have Blaster Blade in your soul, you take it as rest. You basically take it and you ride it as rest, and then all of your other soul goes to the drop zone. So you basically purge all your other soul in exchange for nuking your opponent's field and counterblasting 3, which isn't really worth it. And then in hand, this is the only other part, is that I guess it's a buff. If your Vanguard is a grade 3 blaster, then you can normal call this unit. So you can normal call a grade 4 on your field. It's a 13k beater, which is basically Palamidi, so don't let that fool you either. It's not that hype. This card, honestly, is pretty disappointing. As hyped as I was to see potential buffs, it feels like they did Exculpate a bit dirty, considering how good Nouvelle is even after the buffs. So yeah, Exculpate felt done a little bit dirty. Doesn't really add too much to MLB. Sure, you can play it in MLB, but it doesn't necessarily make the deck suddenly top tier again or anything like that. Moving on in clans that got just a little bit of support, we have OTT with Battle Sisters. So what did they actually get? Well, they got a really amazing card, which is Battle Sister Lemonade, which is when placed Vanguard Circle Soul Blast 2 to countercharge 2. This is really, really good. In not just Battle Sisters, but in any OTT build from going forward. Soul Blast 2 to countercharge 2 is really nice. Just instantly refunding your resources just like that in OTT is really, really good. So of course, everybody appreciates that. And then also there is a 10k attacker if you have a Battle Sister Vanguard. So it's good because this deck is quite aggressive, and therefore that's pretty nice. Moving on to grade 2s, however, we have just one, which is the Battle Sister Cocotte. So when her attack hits Vanguard or Rearguard, so you can hit rears, counterblast 1, look at the top card of your deck, and if it's a Battle Sister, add it to your hand. If it is not, put it on the bottom of your deck. So in a Battle Sister deck, you're going to be hitting basically everything. The only thing that you won't hit is if it's a Tom, which is then pretty sad because you put it on the bottom on top of that. But apart from that, it's pretty good. It's just an on-hit plus, and you can hit rears, which is really nice, so she can take out the intercepts while plussing, which is pretty rare in a lot of decks, to be honest. And then for grade 3s, there are 2 new grade 3s. So Battle Sister Monaka, she's really nice actually. Let me break 4, counterblast 1, Persona Blast. Look at the top 5 cards of your deck, add 2 of them to your hand, put the rest on the bottom of your deck. So this is nice because it's not once per turn, so you can go counterblast 1, Persona Blast, look top 5, put 2 into hand, the rest on the bottom. And then again, if you draw into one from that top 5, you just do it again. Draw into another one, do it again. So you can go through so much of your deck and then kind of make a stack as well at the bottom. So even if you're not playing Tsukiyomi, Yumi, you can just like go through your deck with this card, which is really, really nice, and it's only Counterblast 1 in Persona Blast, which is pretty good. And then she has Counterblast 2 to gain 5k, which isn't that great, but it's for that Persona Blast skill that she has run in Battle Sisters. And then do not craft this. This is not a good card. You do not need more than one. You need one, I would say, at most, but do not go beyond the one. Like this, and this is your 12, this is your 13. So what does Parfait do? Limit Break 4, when she attacks, if you have 2 or more cards in hand for that battle, she gains plus 3k in the following ability. When her attack hits, draw 1. That's the Limit Break. Yeah, you see upcoming stuff like Immortalist Short Kaiser, that's also Limit Break. This is also Limit Break. Yeah, I know. Then Counterblast 2, draw a card. Yeah, I know. Moving on. OTT, the Battle Sister deck, honestly, it's not so much that the new cards are great. Fromage got buffed, and that's huge. This is when the buff came out. I know it's already out in global already since last month, but the Fromage buff was what carried this deck. Being 16k base is really big, and this is a good card, and the grade 2 is a good card. Like, this is a good card, and the grade 1s are really good. But the triple rare grade 3, skip. Just do not touch it. Please save your materials for anything else. I know OTT doesn't get too much in the future either, but just don't put it towards this, no matter what you do. All right, let's get into the face of the set, Kagero. So this is going to be with Nouvelle. I think this came out later. This is when your opponent's card is retired by your card's ability. Then you can put this into the soul to choose and randomly retire one of your opponent's rear guards, prioritizing the back row. I think that comes out later, if I'm not mistaken, so apologies. Then here we have when it boosts a Nouvelle Vague, gain 3k, so 23k swing, very strong. This, however, is the important card. So I often refer to the Nouvelle engine in my videos, and so the Nouvelle engine is 3 cards, you know, Nouvelle Vague, of course, and there's 2 others. One of them is this grade 1, Nouvelle Roman Dragon. So what does he say? Vanguard Rear Circle when placed, if your Vanguard is grade 2 or lower. Keep that in mind. Don't call this expecting to use it when you're at grade 3. So if it's grade 2 or lower, you can return a Nouvelle Vague from your hand back to your deck. To search deck for any grade 3 and add it to your hand. That's actually really huge. So usually put Nouvelle as your heal, so you're recycling heals, and you can pick up your, I don't know, your Dauntless Drive. You can get your Break Ride, that's really nice. When you're running the End, just pick up your second copy of the End, there you go, Persona Blast at the ready. So this is just a fantastic card. It's run as a 4 of in basically every Kagero deck right now in JP, even to this day, and it will continue to be so because the deck is really, really strong. And so this is just a fantastic card, you know. And the thing is, like, when you go to grade 3, you're still running Gojos in the deck, so you can always just like discard them and when you don't need them anymore. So it's perfectly fine for that reason. Going into grade 2s, let's look at the second component. I guess we have one common to look at, which is during your turn, if your opponent has 2 or less rear guards, gain 3k, whatever. However, we have Nouvelle Critic Dragon, and this is the second component of the package. This is a really, really good skill. When placed, Vanguard rear guard circle, if you have a Nouvelle Vague in your hand, or if your Vanguard is Nouvelle Vague, Counterblast 1, choose an opponent's rear guard and retire it. This is the cheapest retire that Kagero has so far. Until now, you're paying Counterblast 2 to berserk the front row. Now you can Counterblast 1 to just pop it. And there you go. No intercept, no nothing. Just blasted all the way out into the stratosphere. And I like that a lot. This skill is really nice. It makes it so that you want to sometimes like hold on to your Nouvelles and not use the Nouvelle Roman on turn 1. So on turn 2, you play this, you use his skill while you have Nouvelle Vague in hand to pop something, and then you call the Nouvelle Roman, put the Nouvelle back in hand to search for your Break Ride, or search for your the End, search for whatever you're playing. I think it's really nice. And I think these cards will be run in Kagero builds for ages to come because you're forced into the 13 grade 3s or higher per deck. And so because of that, I think that it's just like you will be forced to build your decks like that. And therefore, I think like including these 12 cards isn't really difficult. Like, sure, Kagero has a lot of amazing cards coming up in the future too, but this engine is just really good. Counterblast 1 to pop something is insanely good value. So unless they manage to creep that in the future, I think this engine is going to stay for a long time. And then for grade 3s, we got a few commons. This is when your grade 3 Vanguard is placed, then it gets plus 10k, nothing special there. This is on attack Vanguard, discard 1, gain 6k, on attack Rearguard, discard 1, gain 3k. And then we're moving into the double rares. This one is the Blast Bulk Dragon. So Limerick 4, when he attacks Vanguard, Counterblast 1, discard 1, and then for that battle gains 5k and a crit. So it's decent for budget. His second skill is during your turn. If his crit is 2 or more, he gains another 5. So his own skill fuels the second one, so you're already at like 21 with a crit. For Calamos 1, discard 1, it's not too bad, but it's not necessarily amazing either. But it's an alright budget deck, I guess. Then Cruel Dragon is the other triple rare for Kagero, apart from Nouvelle. But this was used with Nouvelle when this deck released, and then it just kind of dipped after a while because people realized it's not really worth running. So his skill is first in the hand. He says, if your opponent's rearguard has been retired this turn, then you can take your grade 2 or higher Vanguard and rest it and ride this unit as stand. And if you rode over grade 2, you draw a card. So people use this, basically, they would go into the Striken, so the grade 2 that cannot attack, that gives 5k and a crit on the thing that you ride over with. Then they would play like the Nouvelle Critic, or they would play like a Berserk to pop something, and then they would go into this, so he would be like coming in on your opponent's like grade 1 or something, or their grade 2, you know, with the extra crit. And that was really, really nice. And on top of that, he has a Limit Break, which says Wing Text Vanguard, Calamos 1, Soul Blast 1, pop an opponent's rear guard. So it's not even that bad. It's definitely not that bad, but there's just better cards. Like, you'd rather be playing, like, you know, Dauntless, The End, and the Old Overlord is a one of, or Dauntless, Nouvelle, the Old Overlord, and then one Cruel Dragon. So don't craft this necessarily, maybe pick up one, but don't prioritize it. Your priority should 100% be on Nouvelle Vague for this set. Really recommend investing into this. If you're a Kagero main, if you enjoy Kagero, if you plan to play Kagero for the remaining of the, like the remainder of the Link Joker season, you'll probably need him. Like, I don't know about Overlord Rebirth when that comes, if this will still be run because we don't have it in JP yet, but now we're entering set 16, and it's still being used, so take that to heart. So what does he do? He's a grade 4, and his first skill is kind of whatever. It's Soul Blast 3, Counter Blast 3, Persona Blast, so it's super heavy. And then, if you do, you retire all of your opponent's rearguards. So, against a deck that has trouble making up their board again, you know, kind of coming back from that kind of big deficit, it's good. There are some decks where you can definitely punish them for that, like Link Joker itself, like, doesn't plus much, so you can just, like, pop their board and suddenly they're a sitting duck, basically, trying to draw into cards. But then, the most important skill is the second one. During your turn, if you or your opponent have 5 or more damage, your opponent's triggers are nullified. So what this means is that if your opponent pushes you to 5, you just go into this over Dauntless optimally, and then you basically go like, alright, I'm gonna swing into you all the time. You check the draw, you don't draw, and you don't get the power. Oh, you check the heal 6 damage, sucks to suck, you don't get to heal. So that's the strong part of Nouvelle. They took away his guard restrict, which makes sense because it's 0, and it's still a really strong card. Like, we've seen these, like, Goliaths, like the giants of the meta from the Limit Break season in TCG, which were Chaos and Nouvelle, get nerfed like crazy, and they still remain to be some of the best cards in 0-2. So it goes to show that Game Studio is really good at card balance. Like, they managed to nerf these cards and they're still good, but they're not overwhelmingly good like they were in the TCG. They make for a fair playing experience, and that's what you want to have. So that's it for Kagero. Nouvelle is 100% a pickup, super important. Exfiltrate is a skip. Battle Sisters you pick up only if you want to play Battle Sisters, but if you're remotely interested in Kagero, this is really important. Like, I crafted, I think, 2 of my Nouvelles because I pulled the SP and I pulled 1 or 2 triples, and I had to craft, but it was worth it. It's definitely very, very worth it. Then moving on, let's go into the Dark Zone, or Dark States now, I should say. Let's start with Dark Irregulars. So this was the support wave that made Reiji the tier 1 deck that it is because of the insanely quick soul charging. So what are some new cards we got? We got a new starter in the Fates Collector. At the end of the battle that he boosted, if you have 6 or more soul, you can put him into the soul to become the 7th, draw 2 cards, and then put 1 card from your hand into your soul. So if you're running Amon, for example, which now has a cross ride, you can put the old Amon into your soul to ride up instantly and have the cross ride. So it's actually not too bad, and I think it's definitely good. You can put Dimension Creepers in there as well, as you can see here on the screen. Then we have Limit Break 4. When it boosts Limit Break 4 unit, gain 3k when it boosts. Then this is the really important card, which is the Hell's Deal. So what the Amon follower cards do is generally the same. It says Vanguard Recurve Circle when placed if your Vanguard is in Amon, so which also includes the Amon followers because they have Amon in their names. You soul charge 2. Any heal triggers that you soul charge by this ability get turned into heal triggers that are grade 0 that go back into your deck. So if you soul charge any heals, they just replace themselves and go back into your deck, and that is really nice. So basically you don't actually lose heals. So really good effect. Soul charge 2 on place, no other cost, is really strong. Then we have the Fool's Palm. So when placed, if you have 6 or more soul, discard 1, draw 1. It's a typical discard 1, draw 1 that you see very often. Amon 10k attacker, you have an Amon Vanguard, and then of course the new PG is also Amon named, so that's also very, very nice. Moving on to grade 2s, however, we have, let's see, on attack, count +1, gain 4k, sleep. Then we have, if you have a Limb Break 4 unit, gain 3k, sleep. And then, of course, Hell's Draw. Same effect as the grade 1. On place, if you have an Amon named Vanguard, Soul Charge 2. For each heal, Soul Charge, you put a heal back into your deck. So it's really nice, and overall, just a great Soul Charge engine. It doesn't have to do much, but it's a great Soul Charge engine. Some people also run the Psychoglaive. When placed, count +1, Soul Charge 2. If you have 6 or more soul, gain 5k. So it is a use of a Canal Blast, but at the same time it's really quick soul charge, so you can hit the 15 for Reiji super quick. Of course, we don't know at this moment if Global's getting Reiji nerfed or not, but if they don't, enjoy your tier 1 deck. It's going to be great. And here's a 12k attacker for Amon. I don't think it's run that much in Amon. You maybe run it as a 2 of, and that's about it, so you don't really need many more copies. Then, ooh, Number of Terror. If you play standard or premium for that matter, this should be a very familiar card. Sadly, he's nowhere near as amazing as he is in the TCG. When your grade 3 rearguard is placed, he gains 3k. He does not put any cards from your rearguard circles into soul to draw 2 cards. He does not restand. He does not draw more cards. He doesn't draw 4 cards per turn, unfortunately. He just gains 3k. Very sad, very sad. Let's see what this bear does. Plus 5k in Vanguard Circle, plus 2k in Rearguard Circle, whatever. Master of Fifth Element, MOF, as he is abbreviated. So during your turn, if you have 10 or more soul, all of your units gain 3k. It's actually not too bad. This is basically like for a rare, that's really good. And when his attack hits a Vanguard, count +1 to Soul Charge 3. That's not bad either. I've seen people play this card in the early set 13 days when we were all like testing this deck, and it was seeing play. It's like quick soul charge basically, and if you need like the extra power to finish a game, it's not too bad either. The break ride sadly is not played at all. Like I've literally not seen a single deck list running Dantarian, unfortunately. So break ride skill is when you break ride over him for that turn, your Vanguard gains plus 10k and you soul charge 3, and the following ability, for each soul, all of your rear guards gain plus 1k. You would think that's amazing, but sadly it's a bit too slow. Like that extra power just doesn't matter in a lot of cases, and it's just like, well, it doesn't give you multi-attack, it doesn't really like do that much. The soul charge is nice, but you can get there without break riding, and you'd rather just like sit on Reiji. Maybe after the buff, after the nerfs to Reiji now, maybe he'll come back, but we'll see later on. But you can keep your eye on him, but like I don't think you need to craft him. When he attacks, he also soul charges 1, as every soul related break ride does. Echo of Nemesis, however, is an interesting card. This was from Fighters Collection. He is basically a Glory Maelstrom. So Limb Break 4, when he attacks, if you have 10 or more soul, he gets plus 10k. And when your opponent would Perfect Guard, they need to randomly discard a grade 3 from their hand. Otherwise, they cannot Perfect Guard. So literally a Glory Maelstrom, but without any cost, which is pretty cool. Just have to have 10 or more soul. And yeah, it's pretty easy to set up, to be honest. And he did see play earlier on as well. And then he has a second skill, Vanguard Circle once per turn. You can put a grade 3 or higher card from your soul into the drop zone to soul charge 2. So if you need to set up soul, he kind of helps you do that if you soul charge a bunch of grade 3s, and you know, I think it's pretty nice for that reason. It's a pretty cool card overall. And then of course Amon Reverse is actually a good card. Also the SP is really pretty. So his skill is once per turn, lock one of your rear guards at Limb Break 4, and then for that turn, gain plus 1k for every card in your soul. If you have 6 or more soul, gain a crit on top of that. So this card is played, especially for the second skill, which is if you have 10 or more soul, count on +2 and pop an opponent's rear guard. And that is really nice because he's basically a walking Blaster Blade. Or he's like MLB combined, like MLB and a Blaster Blade combined, because he has the base crit, and he has base extra power, and with Crossfight especially, and on top of that, he can also count +2 to pop stuff in the front row. So it's kind of like a Blaster Blade and MLB combined, but it's just that you don't have a lot of the plus thing that Royals have in Dark Irregulars. So he's still a really good card. He is running DI. I'm not sure for how long, so if you want to play him now, you can pick him up, but he is running Reiji as a 4-of too, so you're not like missing out by, you know, if you craft him, it's not like you're going to regret it or anything like that. So I think overall it's quite good. This support wave has been really, really good. The Amon engine is just amazing. So Amon himself is pretty good. Everything else here is like all right. And then in terms of grade 2s, like again here, the Amon engine of these two cards is just super, super good. Really, really genuinely amazing. And same goes for this grade 1, the Hell's Draw. So it's a good engine to be running in any Dark Irregulars deck, but that's kind of like the main thing. And then of course we move on to Pale Moon, my main hype from this set. So one new starter and an amazing one at that, which is the Ionella. When she boosts a Silverthorn Vanguard and the attack hits, you can look at the top 2 cards of your deck and put 1 Silverthorn from among them into your soul. So I do recommend you watch my deck and fight for this deck. You know, some deck and fights from this set were a little bit, I would say they didn't age very well. I think this one aged pretty well. It's a good base Silverthorn deck. It's going to get updated soon in JP as well, literally tomorrow. And so this card is really good because every turn you basically get to filter your deck for Silverthorn into your soul. You don't have so much like spam soul charges anymore, and you do a lot more like selective. For example, we have Irina, who says when placed, look at the top 2, put a Silverthorn into your soul. What's nice about cards like this is that because they're when placed, you can like call them, use them, put them into the soul, call them out of the soul, use them again. So it's not placed from hand, it's one placed from anywhere, and that's really, really nice. Silverthorns, of course, got a 10k attacker as well, which is used. And then this is what we call the Marichka effect. So Anna is the grade 1 Marichka, who says, when the boosted attack hits, count +1, choose a Silverthorn from your soul and call it. And then at the end of that turn, put it back into your soul. So what this means is that you get to like boost something and hit. Let's say this can hit also intercepts. So you hit a grade 2, you use her skill to call a grade 2 from your soul, and then swing into the opponent's Vanguard or into their intercept. And then, you know, you got an extra attack out of that. It's going to go back to the soul, but you got an extra attack out of that, and that's really, really important. And then when it boosts Limerick 4, gain 3k. So Silverthorns here, really, really good. All of these are super important, also going forward, especially Arena. This soul charge is super important, and the rest are rares. Of course, there's a Silverthorn PG as well, which you don't, at least until now, haven't really been running because you don't want to soul charge it because it's Silverthorn named, so you run the old one. And the break rate isn't as important in this deck, so at least for that reason, I think that, you know, that kind of discretion can be made. Moving on to grade 2s, however, let's take a look here. We have the, if you have a Limerick 4 unit, sorry, not Vanguard, gain 3k. Then on attack, count +1, gain 4k, whatever. This is Marichka herself. Marichka says, when her attack hits, doesn't have to hit Vanguard, hits anything, count +1, call a Silverthorn from your soul, and then at the end of the turn, put it back. So what you can do is, Marichka, attacks intercept, hits, count +1, call another Marichka on top of her, attack into the other intercept, hits, count +1, call another grade 2. Now you have 3 attacks into the face. You are doing 5 attacks. And if you can do another Marichka, you want to use another counterblast on another Marichka and reset that, that's 6 attacks. But of course, that's a lot of power scaling to worry about. Usually you'll do the 5 to clear both intercepts and then swing 3 times in the face. But otherwise, this is still really, really, really good and just a fantastic card. For rare especially, this is amazing. Upright Lion got released early. This is when your Silverthorn Rearguard is placed from your soul. For that turn, he gains +3k every single time. So you can like spam call a bunch of Silverthorns, you get +3k for each one and become really, really swole. And then, yeah, it's going to be great. It's going to be good. 10k vanilla for Silverthorns 2 is run. And then, of course, the 12k attacker, which is also played because this is a self-lock archetype. So, of course, having 12k attackers is really important. As for grade 3s, well, can you believe that the last wave of support for Pale Moon was way back in Luke here? 5k on Vanguard, 2k on Rearguard, skip. Then this is the when your other grade 3 Rearguard is placed, gain 3k. Yeah. And then, ooh, this is something that's in clan selection and standard right now. The Chelsea. Limerick 4, when she attacks Vanguard for that battle, she gains the following ability. At the end of the battle, count +2 Persona Blast and call 2 cards from your soul. It's actually not too bad for a budget archetype because you get to essentially extend 2 attacks if you like a swung with 2 attacks unboosted, swing with her, comma Super Persona Blast, call 2 things out. You can call out an Alice maybe and then like try to do something with that, but it's at the end of that battle, so you can't give trigger power, so you have to give them to the booster. So keep that in mind. She's not bad for a budget deck, but I think that's about it, to be honest. It's like not that good for like proper competitive play, I would say. And then when she's boosted, she gains +3k, so that way she can hit for 21 with an 8k booster or just 20 otherwise. We got the Break Ride, which is Miracle Pop Ava. When you break right over her, for that turn your Vanguard gains +10k in the following ability. When it attacks, you take 2 rearguards into your soul, and if you do, you call 2 cards out of your soul. So that's pretty good because you can swing with a grade 2, or like swing the front row, attack with Ava, put the front rows in, call the front rows out. Or you can go like swing, and then you go like swing with Vanguard, put a column in and reset a column. Or if you're using it with Purple Trapezist, you can reset a column and then Purple Trapezist resets that attacker, so you get 2 free columns as well if you didn't boost on that first attack. So she's a good break ride. She can be used with a variety of things, not just Silverthorns, and therefore you can experiment a lot of different archetypes. I used her with Silverthorns. I think I will be cutting her mate. I'm not sure. I can't say that just yet because I haven't thought about the deck list and probably gonna do that just tomorrow. But yeah, and of course when she attacks Vanguard, soul charges 1, just like every Pale Moon break ride. And of course the Queen, look here, reverse. So very, very long awaited unit for Pale Moon. So Limerick 4, counterblast 1, lock one of your own rear guards, and then choose one card from your soul and call it. For that turn it gets plus 5k. So that's the original skill, but she also got buffed with her second skill. When your rear guard is placed from your soul, for that turn gain 5k. Not once per turn, by the way, so every time you call something out of the soul, she gets 5k. Really, really nice. That first skill isn't once per turn, so you can like counterblast 1, lock something, call a front row. Counterblast 1, lock another back row, call another front row. So it's really nice. You can call out Alice with this, and she'll be 15, so she can swing into the Vanguard unboosted, and then reset into another attacker that can then be boosted, which is also really nice, and that's kind of like the main point of the build that I was playing with her. But yeah, and she's a crossfight with regular Luke here, so what else is there to ask for? She's absolutely fantastic. Silverthorns are really good, even to this day. Like in set 15 meta, they were still topping, like they still got tops in the Zero Championship in the Japanese format. So if you're really into Pale Moon, if you really love Silverthorns, you can put in the time, put in the effort, and you will have a great time with this deck. Like, it's very rewarding to play, it's very fun, very exciting, and I know a lot of other Pale Moon mains, they really enjoy it thanks to this wave of support. So just have a blast. And then finally, let's look at Great Nature. So this got its support, and I think this deck is really good. I was very pleasantly surprised by how good the Great Nature stuff in this set is. All right, so we have here the Wash Up Raccoon. So when he's retired during your end phase, you can put a non-Wash Up Raccoon, non-Grade 2 unit 3 times. So you can choose 3 units that are not Wash Up Raccoon, that are not Grade 2s, and put them back into your deck. And if you do, you can search your deck for a Wash Up Raccoon and call it. But what's nice is that you can recycle triggers. So recycle triggers, recycle grade 1s, like recycle Hamskays. It's pretty good. It's not really run, but it's an interesting card to have. This card is run though. This is the Taping Cat. When placed Soul Blast 2, draw a card. I like that. I think that's really nice as like a one-of. Pretty good. And of course, new PG as well for that, you know, just having a new PG. And this is the original art cable sheet. This cable sheet is not a V-Series art. It's not like a reboot art or anything. It's actually a new art. They commissioned it, which is very nice. Also, one of the best starters of all time for Great Nature releases in this set, which is a Telescope Rabbit. Counterblast 1 and rest it. Give another unit plus, give another rear guard plus 4k. At the end of the turn, retire it. So why is this so good? In this set, you can basically already like give something the 4k and then give it the Coiling Duckbill skill to start drawing from as early as like turn 2. And then in the future, when Mikasaburo comes out, this is going to be even more useful. So this starter is really good, and also triggers your Hamskays, which is also really nice for the early game to like filter your deck as early as possible, which is really important. We got 2 new commons. This is on attack, almost 1 gain 4k, and this is if you have more cards in your hand than your opponent. Sorry, less cards in hand than your opponent, then it gains 3k. Skip. Not Granblue. Great Nature has so many good grade 2s. Like, just look at this, man. There's so many good grade 2s in this clan. You don't need to worry about these new ones. Like, they're not worth your time. Don't even look. We got the Fighters Collection Panda in this set. When it attacks the Vanguard, if the battle opponent's power is 12k or higher, he gains 10k, which is interesting against Crossrides and MLB, I guess. And when he attacks Vanguard on Rearguard Circle, gains 2k. So glorified 12k attacker, basically. Then we have this. I keep seeing just the axe and not the actual bear in this. When you drive check a grade 3, for that turn, 2 of your rearguards get 4k, but at the end of the turn, retire them. So yeah, pass. Then we got the actual good cards, but before we take a look at the good cards, there is a grade 4 for Great Nature, which released as like a temporary card in the TCG, which had an expiration date for the only time, literally. So this card says when it attacks the Vanguard, you can, if you have 3 or more rearguards, he gains plus 10k, and Vanguard Rearguard Circle when placed, draw 1. So yeah, compared to Nouvelle, this is pretty whatever. Keep in mind, you can't call it unless you're actually on grade 4, so you have to ride him first and then call him for the extra draw. It's like, sure, it's draw, but your deck naturally draws already, and it naturally gives power to things too without having to screw up your grade ratios. It's not worth it. Spoiler, don't bother with this. It's really not worth it. It's cool as a little thing to have, but it's not worth it. The Break Ride, the ultimate Break Ride, one of the best Break Rides in general, Chat Noir. When you Break Ride over it for that turn, give your Vanguard plus 10k in the following ability. When your unit attacks your opponent's Vanguard, very important, so it will not trigger when you attack into their intercepts. You can choose one of your rear guards for that turn and give it 4k. At the end of that turn, draw 1, retire that unit. So what's really cool about this is that it gives your units that skill, right? So let's say you attack, let's say they don't have intercepts. You go rear guard into Vanguard, so give something 4k, draw 1. Out of the rear guard into Vanguard, now you're drawing 2. Vanguard into Vanguard, now you're drawing 3. If that Vanguard is something like Polaris that restands, that will also attack into Vanguard, draw 4. If it's like, I don't know, if you rip 2 stands, draw 5. Wow. Draw 5 from a Break Ride without any counterblast. pretty good. It's pretty good. In most cases, however, you're gonna go rearguard into rearguard, rearguard into rearguard, Vanguard into rearguard, and then you're gonna go draw one, and then you're gonna restand it because you're playing Polaris or playing some Vanguard that restands. You're drawing 2, and you're playing some stand triggers, so you're drawing 3. That's probably what's going to happen, let's be real. But it's still a really great card. It's still a really great card. You get some support in G later on as well, so it's a good investment. I do recommend it myself. I did craft it indeed. I think this deck is really fun. I really enjoy it. And I do enjoy Leopold Reverse as well. His skill is you can lock one of your Limit Break 4, lock one of your rearguards to, for that turn, give 2 rearguards plus 4k. And then the following 2 abilities. At the end of the turn, this unit retires. And during the end phase, when this unit is retired, you can call it to an empty rearguard circle. This is cool because you can basically put up like, I don't know, 2 grade 2 Hamskays or 2 of any grade 2s in the front row, lock your back row, pump them, lock another back row, pump them, lock another back row, pump them. Now they each have plus 12k, which the booster behind them could not offer them, trust me. And they're also going to be respawning at the end. And what's this? He got buffed. When his attack hits a Vanguard, count must 2, stand one of your rear guards and give them plus 4k and retire them at the end of that turn. Wow. That works with Shot Noir as well. Very cool. So yeah, this deck is really good. It was actually quite good in TCG back then too. You know, no Counterblast, no Soul Blast, just lock something to pump front row was really good, especially when you get whacked the face 3 times without having to worry about intercepts. So yeah, this is really, really nice. Like being able to respawn the things you buff as well, like it's a really nice card. I think in JP they kind of like slept on it, but in my opinion, it's really, really nice. And I think you guys that enjoy Great Nature will love this as well. Anyway, that's about it for this set. So set 13 is definitely a very eventful one. A lot of cards that, especially when it released in JP, we didn't appreciate how good they were, especially Nouvelle, and like, you know, stuff like the Reiji stuff support with the Amon engine and Silverthorns as well. People didn't really appreciate how good it was, and now everyone's like, damn, that was a good set. So it is skippable if you're not interested in any of these because they're not like super meta defining like Revengers was, but at the same time, these are some really good decks and they're really, really fun as well. But if you want like the like meta dog kind of like build, it's Nouvelle. Like Nouvelle is definitely the meta call. From this, it becomes super meta. It continues to be like even better than like Revengers in terms of like a representation in tournaments. So yeah, Nouvelle is really good, definitely worth investing in. Other than that, everything else is like, if you like it, you invest in it. If you like Silverthorns, you're gonna love it, and it's gonna be really good too. So yeah, hopefully this helped you make up your minds for tomorrow when the set releases and gave you a quick introduction to all the cards coming out as well. Of course, before we end, don't forget I'll be opening 300 plus packs on my Twitch tomorrow, so make sure you give me a follow there so you stay notified of when I go live and you can check it out and join in on the fun. Every month is always a lot of hype, so yeah, come join us, watch it, and be part of the fun. But on that note though, that's gonna be it for me today. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye bye.